Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome class 10th in my lecture series for chemistry. In our today's lecture, we will start our new chapter that is about the organic chemistry. So, what is an organic chemistry? The word organic is basically derived from living beings. Anything that is originated from living beings is called as the organic. And all the organic compounds were first thought to be the compounds that can only be derived from living beings. However, in the later stages, a scientist named Frederick Wohler later synthesized urea in laboratory. That urea is also an organic compound, and this scientist, that is the Frederick Wohler, by using certain inorganic compounds, prepared this organic compound in laboratory. So the conception that was prevalent before, that organic compounds can only be derived from living beings, get corrected, and the scientist came to know that organic compounds can also be prepared within the laboratory. But why these compounds were named as organic? It was because of the reason that those compounds were first derived only from the living beings. Therefore, they were called as the organic compounds. So, the concept that organic compounds are only derived from living beings gets changed by the preparation of an organic compound, that is urea, from inorganic compound by the Frederick Wohler. So, study of organic compounds and its properties is generally called as the organic chemistry. What are organic compounds? Organic compounds are the compounds that contain carbon. Organic compounds are the compounds that contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, and halogens. Greater amount of elements present in the organic compound is that of carbon and hydrogen. These two elements are present in larger amount in organic compounds. Rest of the element, that is oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, and halogens, they are present in the smaller amount. So organic compounds are basically the compounds of carbon. They are the compound. Carbon is the main element in all the organic compounds. So therefore we are calling it as the compounds of carbon with hydrogen, oxygen, and the rest of the elements. However, there are some exceptions to the compounds of carbon, like you know that this carbon dioxide is also the compound of carbon. Carbon monoxide also compound of carbon. Carbonates and carbides are also the compounds of carbon, but they are not considered as organic compounds because they have different properties from those of organic compound. These compounds are an exceptions, and they have different properties, and these compounds are called as the inorganic compounds. So now we will discuss the importance of organic compounds in our life, and industrial importance as well. So first we will discuss the importance of organic compound in life. We know that our body contains carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and the nucleic acid. You must have read in your biology classes that carbohydrates are the energy source. For example, glucose. You know that in the process of respiration, there is the breakdown of glucose, and that breakdown releases the energy in the form of ATP. You must have read it in the biology classes. So though that glucose is the form of carbohydrate, and all carbohydrates are the organic compounds. Similarly, lipids are also an energy source, and they are an important constituent of brain and the nervous system. So lipids are also the organic compounds. Proteins is also an organic compounds, are also organic compounds, and they are the basis of cell structure and function. Similarly, nucleic acids, class of organic compound. They are responsible for the transmission of genetic information from parents to the offsprings. Now, by seeing the importance of organic compounds in carbohydrate, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acid, you may see that these organic compounds are so essential for our well-being and for the proper maintenance of life. Here are some industrial importance of organic compounds. Organic compounds may be employed in the production of plastic, rubber, and synthetic fibers. They may also be employed for the production of paints, glue, and varnishes, as well as they are also employed in artificial sweeteners and flavors. They are also used in the preparation of drugs and dyes, and they are also used in the manufacturing of soaps and the detergents. So these are some of the industrial importance of the organic compounds. So now discussing these organic compounds, as we have read before that organic compounds are the compounds of carbon with hydrogen. These two elements are the main elements of the organic compounds. However, these compounds of carbon and hydrogen may also contain oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, and the halogens. Organic compounds may also be defined as the hydrocarbons and their derivatives. What are hydrocarbons? As the name suggests, that hydrocarbons are the compounds of carbon with hydrogen, and anything that will be derived from these hydrocarbons will be considered as their derivatives. That derivatives are the compounds that may contain extra elements as mentioned here. In addition to the mentioned elements here and the carbon and hydrogen, organic compound may also contain certain metal ions. For example, in hemoglobin, that is present in our blood and is responsible to bind oxygen, contains iron as a central metal atom, and that iron is essential part of that hemoglobin molecule. So this hemoglobin is also an organic compound, and it is an example in which the iron metal atom is present within that organic compound. However, the presence of metal ion in the organic compound is very rare. What are hydrocarbons? Hydrocarbons are the compounds of carbon with hydrogen. So now we will discuss about the chemical diversity and the magnitude of the organic compounds. Organic compounds are generally very diverse in nature. We have different families of organic compounds, and within those families there are thousands of organic compounds present. So what is the main reason behind this diversity and greater magnitude of organic compound? So in order to understand this, we will first discuss the nature of carbon atom. Now we know that the carbon atom has four valence electron. If we write the electronic configuration for carbon atom, it is 1s2, 2s2 and 2p2. So this means that in the second shell, that is the valence shell, there are four valence electron. Now this valence shell is deficient of four more electrons in order to complete its octet, and it needs four more electrons in order to complete its octet. So how will it complete octet? It will complete its octet by making four covalent bonds. So carbon will form four covalent bonds with other elements, that may be hydrogen, that may be carbon itself, that may be oxygen, and these covalent bonds will help that carbon atom to complete its octet. Now carbon has a unique property that distinguish itself from rest of the element, and that property is called as the catenation. Now what is catenation? Catenation is the property of direct bonding between atoms of same elements to form a chain. It is also called as the self-linking ability. For example, in this diagram you may see that there are three kinds of chains: branch chain, linear chain, and the ring chain. Now first we will discuss about the linear chain. Now in the linear chain you may see that the carbon atoms are linked to each other with the help of a single bond. Now each carbon atom is linked to the carbon atom of the same kind. This is called as the self-linking ability of an atom, and this self-linking ability is called as the catenation. Now here you may see that the carbon atoms are linked to each other in a linear way. So therefore resulting in the formation of a linear chain. This is one of the way of linking carbon atoms with each other, linking of carbon atoms with each other. Another way of the linkage of carbon atoms with each other is in the form of branch chain. In the branch chain you may see that on this linear chain there are some fragments that are attached on this linear chain. When some fragments get attached to the linear chain, then that linear chain got converted into the branched chain. Another way to link the carbon atoms with each other is in the form of ring chain. Ring chain is a chain that forms closed structure. Here you may see that this closed structure contains 3 carbon atom, this closed structure contains 5 carbon atom, this ring structure contains 6 carbon atom. So any linkage that results in the formation of closed structure or cyclic structure are generally called as the rings, cyclic rings. So carbon atom may get a link to each other in three ways: in the linear form, in the branch form, or in the ring form or the cyclic form. So carbon atom can make straight, branch or ring chains. And how it makes straight, branch or ring chains? Because of the property of catenation, because of its ability to self-link with other carbon atoms. There is no limit to size and shape. This means that thousands of carbon atoms may get connected to each other either in the form of linear chain, branch chain, or the cyclic chain. And no other element can compete carbon in this regard. Carbon has this unique property, and because of this unique property, organic compounds are so large in number and are so diverse in number. And no other element can make such a diverse class of compounds as carbon can make. However, silicon also has an ability of catenation, but its catenation property is limited. It cannot link to it cannot this property of catenation in silicon cannot result in the linkage of thousands of silicon atoms as it is this power is present in the carbon atom. Like we have read that carbon atoms can get connected to thousands of other carbon atoms in the form of linear chain, but this silicon does not have ability to get attached with each other and to arrange themselves in thousands of silicon atoms within a single molecular structure. So carbon chain, however, may contain thousands of carbon atoms. This is an example of the compound of silicon, in which each silicon atom is linked to itself with the help of a covalent bond. This compound is called as normal decasilane, and this is the largest compound of silicon in which the catenation property of silicon has been observed. However, for carbon atoms, the linear chain may contain thousands of carbon atoms. So why the organic compounds are so diverse? We have discussed that first the carbon atom has a unique property of catenation, and that unique property of catenation may be expressed by linking carbons in the linear form, in the branched form, or in the cyclic form. Another reason for this diversity is the isomerism. What is an isomerism? Isomerism is the phenomena in which isomers are produced. What are isomers? Isomers are the compounds having same molecular formula but different arrangement of atoms in their molecules. What is a molecular formula? Molecular formula is a formula that depicts the actual ratio of elements present in a compound. So all the elements, all the compounds that are isomers to each other have the same molecular formula, have the same ratio of elements present in their compound, but they only differ in the arrangement of atoms. For example, we have two cases. Here, this is N-butane, this is isobutane. Now, if you take the molecular formula of this compound, it is C4H10. The molecular formula for this compound is also C4H10. Now the molecular formula is same. However, there is only the difference in the arrangement of atoms. In this structure, in N-butane, the 4 carbon atoms are arranged in linear fashion. However, in isobutane, the 4 carbon atoms are arranged in branched fashion. This is the linear chain, and a single fragment is present over that linear chain. Now, if the fragments are associated with the linear chain, any fragment if that is associated with the linear chain, then that linear chain gets converted into the branch chain. So here you see that first in the linear chain, this CH3 is attached to this side of the chain, and in the branched, this CH3 gets attached to this carbon atom as a fragment. So since there is the association of fragment with the linear chain, the chain gets converted into the branched form. Now since the arrangement has been differed, so therefore these two structures will be called as the isomers to each other. Another example of isomerism may be expressed in the pentane. Now this is the linear form of pentane, and these two forms are the branched forms. Now in linear form, all 5 carbon atoms are attached to each other in a linear way. Molecular formula for these 3 compounds is same. Now this is a linear way of linking the carbon atoms. Here in this structure, in isopentane, this fragment gets attached to this carbon atom, and when these fragments get attached to the linear chain, it results in the generation of a branched structure. Now in the neopentane, this fragment gets attached to this carbon atom and the arrangement differed totally. Now here you may see that the arrangement of carbon atoms in neopentane is totally different from that in the isopentane. So therefore, because of the difference in the arrangement of carbon atom, a new isomer has been generated with the name of neopentane. Now all these 3 isomers have the same molecular formula, but they are only differing in the arrangement of atoms in the space. So on the basis of this arrangement of atoms, they may be classified as isomers, and as these isomers have different properties with respect to each other, despite of the fact that they belong to the same class of compound and they have the same molecular formula. Since their arrangement is different, so their properties also get differed. So we just discussed that why the organic compounds are diverse. We discussed that it is because of the 2 reasons. First reason we discussed is that of the catenation, and the second reason we discussed is the isomerism. Now we will discuss the third reason for this diversity in our tomorrow's lecture. This was all for today. Thank you for being with me.